So, today we will talk about self study and self evaluation. So, let's go ahead. What are those things? So, self study, I will answer the question, how can you effectively study by yourself? So, effectively, this means in a really good way, right? So, using your time well and using good study methods, right? So, how can you self study very well? And then self evaluation. So, how can you keep track of, or how can you know and follow your English level with no class and no teacher? So, I will share with you some different ways that you can do that. So, let's go ahead and begin. So, for self study, today I will share with you self study about the four main English skills: writing, reading, listening, and speaking. Okay, so we'll go through one by one and talk about some different ways to self study each of these main English skills. Okay, so first, let's talk about how to self study writing. This is a question that comes up very often in the comments during the live streams, and even the comments on our YouTube videos and Facebook videos. So today I want to begin by sharing some different helpful ways to self-study writing. Okay, so let's talk about 3 ways to self-study writing. First, keep a journal. And we'll talk about each of these in detail. So, keep a journal. Use English writing prompts. Talk about what that is. And write a summary. So, let's go through these 3 self-study skills or self-study methods. So, first is to keep a journal. So, unfortunately, no journal around me. So, a journal is like a notebook that we write our thoughts in. So, in a journal, you can write about the events of your day. You can write about your thoughts and feelings. This will help you express yourself. So, it might not be something that you have normally done or that you have done before, but if you keep a journal in English, this is an excellent way to practice writing about your life, right? And all of our study skills are connected. So if you practice writing about your day and writing about your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions in English every day or very often, then it will help your speaking too, right? So you become more skilled at talking about whatever it is you want to write about. So for me, if I try to keep a journal in another language, I write about what I am comfortable writing about, but try to challenge myself a little. So let's say I want to write about, where's my mouse? There we go, the events of my day. So let's say I am studying English and I know how to talk about simple things like I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I ate breakfast, some simple things there. So I can also challenge myself. What does this mean? Well, maybe I did something and I don't know how to say it in English. Keeping a journal is the perfect time to look up new words, use them to talk about your day, and expand your vocabulary, improve your writing, and improve your speaking and confidence. Okay, so keeping a journal, excellent, excellent way to practice your writing. And something you can see over time, your skill will improve, right? So also make sure to try and write as long as you can, as much detail as you can. So not just 2 sentences, right? It is hard to talk about our day in just 2 sentences. So maybe try 10 sentences or more, okay? So keep a journal. Our next self-study writing method is use English writing prompts. So what is a writing prompt? A writing prompt is a sentence or a question that we read and then write about that thing. So, for example, a writing prompt might say something like, tell me what music you like. And there you go. Okay, that's the topic I will write about. So, English writing topics. Okay. You can use Google or any search engine to look up English writing prompts. There are so many, and just choose one a day. This will help you to learn to write about many different topics. And again, make sure to use your phone or your computer to translate. Use a dictionary. Use tools to help you learn the words and phrases you need to write about these many different topics. So here's an example. I just searched English writing prompts. So let's take a look at some that would be easy or at least good starting questions to write about. Maybe could be difficult, could be easy. So, your favorite childhood vacation. Wow. So that one topic you could write so much about, right? You could write about your favorite teacher, right? Describe them, what they are like in writing. So many things you could talk about. Write about your first job, right? So there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these kinds of questions out there. So all you have to do is search for them and then write about them each day. Okay? Okay, so the next way we can self-study writing is to write a summary. So a summary, let's talk about what that means first. A summary is like, let's say I have a long story or a long movie or something long, and I want to tell you just the most important information about that thing. Let's say I watched a great movie and my friend asks me, what was the movie about? Well, I'm not going to tell them the whole story, right? Maybe just the most important information. So if someone asked me what happened in the Avengers Endgame movie, I could say something like, they all came together to fight Thanos. In the end, well, I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it, but I would just give some simple information, right? This is a great way to learn how to talk about big ideas in a short way. Sometimes when we are trying to express ourselves in another language, maybe there are so many things we're thinking about and so many things we want to say, it can be hard to just say what we need to say, right? So practicing writing, again, helps our speaking too. You can write summaries about anything you like, okay? So this is always important. Write about what you like. right? Anytime you self-study, you should enjoy it. So you can write summaries about movies, books, TV shows, things happening in the news, and so on. Anything that you like, okay? So remember, writing a summary, keeping a journal, and using English writing prompts are all excellent ways to self-study writing. Okay, let's talk about our next self-study skill, reading. This is another very common question. Oh, teacher, how do I self-study reading? Well, let's look at a few skills. First, choose a story you know already. Use an online dictionary for meaning and pronunciation while you read. And lastly, write synonyms next to new words. So let's go ahead and go through these. First, choose a story you know already. Read a story in English that you know very well in your native language. For example, I know the story Harry Potter so well. I have read the books in my native language many times. So when I want to practice reading in another language, well, a great place to start for me is Harry Potter, because I know the characters, I know the story, and this helps me to understand or infer, which means guess the meaning of words in sentences, right? Because I already know the story. So it could be any story for you. Just think, what's a story you know very well? And then find that in English. Find that book in English. This helps your comprehension or your understanding and your language development because you learn slowly how to infer the meaning of words in sentences or in a paragraph or in a story, right? So because you know it, it is a little easier to understand and maybe more interesting because it's a story you know and like. The next self-study skill for reading is use an online dictionary while you read. So maybe you're reading a book, or maybe you like to read on a Kindle or a tablet. You can always have your phone nearby to use an online dictionary while you read. Of course, when you read, there will be words you don't know, phrases you don't know, things that will be confusing, right? So always have a dictionary nearby. When you see new words when reading, you can look them up in an online dictionary. So one of my favorites is Cambridge Dictionary. This is dictionary.cambridge.org, something like that. Just search Cambridge Dictionary. It will go from language to language. There are many different languages, and you can see meanings. What does the word mean? And how do you use it in a sentence? You can see the translation. What is the word in your language? And you can click to hear how the word sounds and practice your speaking as well, right? So this is very useful. I think when you are reading, remember all of our language skills help each other. When we get better at writing, we get better at speaking and reading, and even listening. And when our reading gets better, it helps our other skills too. So don't be afraid to write the meaning or translation above the word and read the sentence out loud a few times to help your speaking and your reading comprehension or your understanding of what you're reading. It helps to do it maybe 3 times to really help your understanding, right? So make sure to use a dictionary while you read, and don't be afraid to write in your book. If you are, maybe you are reading on a computer or tablet, just keep a notebook and write the words on there as you go along. All right, our last self-study method for reading is write synonyms next to words. So, what is a synonym? A synonym is a word with the same meaning as another word. So, if I see the word big, some synonyms or words with the same meaning are large and sizable. And we can use these all in almost the exact same way in most sentences, right? Synonyms are a great way to improve our reading comprehension and, again, also our speaking as we learn different ways to say the same thing. This is, even as a native English speaker, something we learn as we grow up. As we go from kindergarten all the way through high school and so on, we learn how to expand our vocabulary and use more words and bigger words and more descriptive words. So you can do that too, right? This is a natural part of learning a language, and you can make it happen for yourself by writing out some synonyms. So maybe you see a big word or an unfamiliar word, which means not familiar, don't know it, right? We don't recognize it. So write synonyms. Maybe you see a word, oh, what is that? So yes, we can look up the meaning in translation, and it's helpful to write down synonyms for that word. So let's say you're reading and you see the word sizable, and you think, what does that mean? Sizable? So you look it up, and maybe above the word you write the words big and large. And this helps you make the connection. This is another word I can use for big or large. You can also write synonyms for small common words to expand your vocabulary. So let's say you see the word large and you look up a synonym. Above it, you write sizable. You can go both directions with this. But this is a great way to expand your language and improve your vocabulary and your reading. And of course, because all of our skills are connected, read the sentence again with each new synonym. Maybe you write 3 synonyms for a word. Well, read the sentence, switching out with each new synonym. Most of the time, as long as it's the same part of speech, so all adjectives, for example, then we can often use them in the same way, but we might need a different ending, right? Okay, let's move on to study skill number 3, listening. So how can you self-study listening? You can use dual subtitles on Netflix and YouTube. You can watch TED Talks with transcripts and subtitles. And you can use language apps like Memrise, Duolingo, or Rosetta Stone. So let's talk about, oh, did I skip one? Nope. Okay, TED Talks with transcripts and subtitles. You can go to TED.com to find thousands of interesting videos about many topics. And these videos are teachers and professionals from all around the world talking about really interesting things. Many of these videos have subtitles in many different languages and full transcripts that you can read. So a transcript is all of the things said in the video. When you watch, maybe you just see one line of speaking, show one sentence at a time, right? On the transcript, you can see the whole speech, and they have transcripts in English and Korean and Chinese and Russian and so many other languages. So you can listen along, watch, practice, right? Read and listen. This is very important to developing your listening. Make sure to read along while you listen. It helps us to understand and make the connection between the sounds we hear and the words they represent. So make sure to read the transcript or read the subtitles in English and your native language while you listen. You can also do this on things like Netflix and YouTube with something called dual subtitles. Dual means like two. So you can download something called Netflix Dual Subtitle for learning languages or YouTube Dual Subtitle. These are the exact names. And these are things you can download on Google Chrome that allow you to see two language subtitles at the same time. This is very useful, and the Netflix one, the Netflix Dual Subtitle, you can even pause, highlight words, put your mouse over a word, and see the meaning. You set the language. So this is very useful for studying, and you can do it with your favorite shows and movies. And you can even do it on YouTube. So this is a great way to study listening. Again, reading while you listen. And of course, you can use apps like Memrise, Duolingo, and Rosetta Stone. These are very convenient, right? We can do them any time of day on your phone at your convenience, right? Of these and of the many, I recommend the Rosetta Stone app because it takes an acquisition approach. What this means is from the beginning, you only hear things in that second language. So it starts very simple. You practice your speaking, listening, reading, and so on in a more natural way that you would learn a first language in. So Rosetta Stone is a great app. Okay, guys, let's talk about our last self-study methods, self-study skill, speaking. Oh, this one. Many of you think, what? How can I self-study speaking? We often want feedback for our speaking, or we want to be in conversation to practice our speaking. But this is not always necessary to practice. You can do self-talk, which is like writing a journal, but we do it out loud. We speak it instead of write it. You can do something called mirroring. So you can watch our July 13th live stream for a whole lesson on how to do mirroring. Or you can join an online language exchange. So let's talk about these three methods. Self-talk, which is like journaling out loud. So this is something you can do in the comfort of your home. You can practice describing your day. Maybe pull up pictures on your phone and try to describe them in English. Or describe what you see around you out loud to yourself. So this, of course, is something we do when we're alone and we just want to practice speaking. One of our viewers last week recommended doing this in a mirror so you can practice things like keeping eye contact and using gestures while you speak. So that's great, but you can always start by just describing your day and practicing your English to yourself. If you are thinking, well, I am not alone often, maybe you live with other people or you're very busy, You can also practice thinking in English and practice internally when you're in public or around other people. So you can still do these things, but just think instead of speak, right? If you like this method and you want to use it, but you are around other people very often, you can try doing it with your thinking as well, right? Okay. Next is mirroring. So I'm only going to talk about this for a minute, but if you watch our July 13th live stream, you will see a whole lesson about how to do this. Mirroring is a study practice that involves studying and mimicking or copying a good English speaker's speech, which means their words, intonation, and rhythm, and their body language, so gestures, facial expressions, and so on. So make sure to check out that live stream. This is a great study method that can help you feel more confident in your speaking, in your pronunciation, and so on. And last is join an online language exchange. There are many apps and websites for online language exchanges. Here you can chat with native English speakers anytime for practice. For example, try Speaky. This is one that is a typing, chatting app, but you can chat with native English speakers for practice. It's very comfortable because it's just, again, on your phone typing, so you have time to think. There's no worries about making mistakes or anything like that. So you can use an online language exchange. All right, so now that we have talked about some study methods, some self-study methods for each of the main language skills, let's talk about self-evaluation. There are many online English level tests you can take again and again to see what your English level is. For example, Cambridge English has a general English exam. There's also an online English level test from British Council. And again, you can just search these things online and they'll pop right up. There are also grammar quizzes and vocabulary quizzes for free online to test your skills and see where you need to improve. So you can just search for these things, right? There are so many resources. All you have to do is search. So maybe you are trying to self-study some new grammar. Maybe you have a textbook that you're using or some study book. And you can look up a simple present quiz or English vocabulary quiz to test yourself, see what you know, and this will help you see where you need to improve. If you get many questions wrong about some certain grammar point, well, that's something to study and work on. If the vocabulary quiz gets too hard with certain words, certain level of words, okay, well, I know this is my vocabulary level and I can work to improve. So let me recommend to you some reliable or very good English evaluation websites. Again, Cambridge English. They have an online dictionary, they have level tests, really great resource. I also love British Council. Again, many great resources for students and teachers alike. Duolingo has an excellent English test. It is not free, but it's a good one. And if you pay for it, you can take it as many times as you want over time. So it's a very good way to measure your progress. IELTS has a good online test, and so does EF Standard English Test. The key here is to choose one and take it maybe 3 or 4 months apart. So take it a few times a year to see how your study skills are working, right? Are my methods working? Am I improving? And if not, then it shows you need to adjust or change and do things a little differently. But choose one and take it over and over again. That's why I really like the Duolingo English test. It is very comprehensive, so many topics, many skills, and you can take it every day. Not that you should, but you can take it many times a year and track your progress. See how you improve. So what else can you do to self-evaluate? Well, this goes back to our mirroring. So you can choose a native speaking sample, or maybe a video or short clip, maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes, whatever is comfortable for you. You can find it on TED.com, Netflix, YouTube, any resource. Study it. And I don't mean study for 5 seconds and repeat. I mean study and memorize for a week or so, or at least several days. Practice it a lot until you feel like, I know these words, I know, I really feel like I am saying something very similar to the native speaking sample. Maybe it's a clip from a movie or a TV show, and I learn it and feel, okay, now I know it very well. Maybe it took me 2 weeks to really study. Then record a video of yourself. You can just use your phone, you can use your computer, and record yourself repeating the same words, saying that native speaking sample. Then compare. How is your video different than the original video? Notice things like pronunciation or certain words or sounds that are hard for you, or that aren't the same or aren't similar enough to be understandable, and study them and practice those things intentionally. This is it can be difficult to self-evaluate, but repeating and comparing yourself to native speakers can be a really useful strategy. And before we end, remember that enjoyment and consistency are extremely important. So what does this mean? You must have enjoyable study methods. If you want to study, but you hate studying the usual way, the normal way, well, don't do that. There are so many ways to study. There are as many ways to study as there are people. So find what works for you and what you enjoy. You also must have a specific, realistic schedule. So this means that you should maybe every Monday for 5 minutes at 10 a.m. and it should be realistic. So if you are very busy, don't say, I will study 1 hour every day. That's very difficult, right? And maybe not realistic. Maybe if you study 1 hour a day, you will very, very quickly not want to study. So find what works for you. And you must stick to it. So this means continue. Find what you enjoy doing to study. Have a specific, realistic schedule and stick to it. You probably will not figure it out right away. So be patient. Allow yourself to change and adjust. Maybe your methods change, your schedule changes. That's okay. Keep doing that and find what works for you.